Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here. The DCEU is a-changing, so many changes, so bittersweet, so exciting, and I want this to be a channel for all DC fans and all DCEU fans. We shouldn't be separated. We should be all one happy family. So who could play the Batman? It's very interesting, isn't it? Because we know it's going to be a younger Batman. That's official. That's the tweet that Ben Affleck quote tweeted. So I've got two names for you that you're probably not going to like, but I'm going to say that Freddie Highmore, who played Norman Bates in Bates Motel and is in The Good Doctor right now, would be an excellent young Bruce Wayne. And Cameron Monaghan, who plays the Joker in Gotham. Why them? Because they're the two best young actors on television. But these are not young TV actors. These are all-round talents, and they would be amazing. Cameron Monaghan's connection already to Batman would be something really outstanding. But maybe Cameron could play a young Joker in a young Batman story. But Freddie Highmore, yeah, he's really, really skinny. He would have to beef up for sure. But you know what? He is an amazing actor. He's a British actor. He's amazing. And he could really, really do a good job. Now, beyond Freddie Highmore and Cameron Monaghan, I would like to see maybe an unknown young actor. I don't think this should be about giving a big name to the role. Now, those two actors, I've kind of thrown them in there. I haven't heard anything about this casting. But one thing you can guarantee, the reason this is, look, everything is done by studios for a reason. They have kept their lips shut about the Batman for so long while it's been in development. And it has been in development. The brakes weren't on. You know, I think that Matt Reeves made a great quote in his interview with The Hollywood Reporter. Warner Brothers have been very, very patient with me. Obviously, that relationship is strong. We want Warner Brothers and their DCEU directors and their DC directors to have good relationships where Warner Brothers are not putting the pressure on. And I think it's really interesting as well. Well, with the MCU, it's normally Bob Iger or Kevin Feige doing the talking. You don't hear much from their directors. With the DCEU and DC, it's the directors doing the talking. And people like the chairman of Warner Brothers coming out now and again, Walter Hamada says absolutely nothing. But he doesn't have to. He just has to do the job of running the franchise. So I like that. I like the creatives and the visionaries actually speaking rather than the big bosses, the kind of organ grinders, the number crunchers talking. I have no interest in that. So I think it's fascinating. I think the reason all this has come out, as I said in the DCEU Daily, the reason that the Zack Snyder thing's been announced, the reason why Matt Reeves is now talking about the Batman is because all these announcements are about to be made. And I would think in the next month we will know who's going to play Batman in the Batman. But not just that, very soon we will know if the Batman is going to be called the Batman. Could it be called The Dark Knight Begins? Which would be interesting, an interesting take on the title. Some people won't like that because it's very similar to Batman Begins, but that doesn't matter. Anything with the Dark Knight in the title is pretty awesome, right? But yes, I think this is going to be a very interesting piece of casting. I personally don't think it's going to be a piece of casting people are going to hate. The problem with Ben Affleck was from the beginning that everyone was torn. But I think even the people who didn't like Batman v Superman thought that Ben did a pretty good job, which was very, very interesting. And it would have been interesting what people's thought process. And I mean, more hardcore DC fans than DCEU fans if Affleck stayed. I'm assuming the hardcore DC comic book, graphic novel fans are happy that he's gone. And this is a really interesting possibility to who they cast. And as I say, I mean, you probably don't like the idea of Freddie Highmore or Cameron Monaghan. But I think they're two very, very good actors. And I think they're two actors who could do a fabulous job. But again, how old is Batman going to be in this film? That's another interesting thing. Will he be 20? Will he be 25? Will he be 30? In the comics, how old is he when he first becomes Batman? I think he's probably about 25, early 20s maybe. I'm not sure. Someone who knows the comics a lot more on the origins of Batman will be able to tell me that. Please comment down below. But for me, someone like Freddie Highmore and Cameron Monaghan may not have the kind of, they're not tall, they're not well built, but they've certainly got the acting chops to take on this role. And something tells me to play Matt Reeves' Batman, you're going to have to be able to act. Because I think he's spoken about it being compelling, about it being emotional, and about it being a journey of transition. That's interesting. How will this stick with this new actor being the Batman here on in? How can this be interconnected with the DCEU? Will they just cast someone else and say, do you know what? This has been him all along. But if this is a young Batman story, that means if we're sticking with the DCEU, we're going to Batman's past. So again, will they recast an older Batman? That as well is interesting, isn't it? Very interesting. Because if they recast an older Batman, could we get Michael Keaton or Christian Bale for those sequences? We will talk again later, because I've got a lot to say about what's happening with the DCEU right now.